So I'm going to start this review off just like I started my Jungle Cruise review off, which if you haven't seen that, it'll be in the description down below. Definitely recommend watching both the movie and my review. But with this one, I so I saw the trailer for The Green Knight multiple times, either in theaters or online, just Twitter, YouTube, etc. And it didn't even really pique my interest. I know a lot of people really like these medieval knight movies. I like some of them. I like the period pieces. I like some of those. But with this one, I was just kind of like, so it's a really like kind of modern over the top take of an Arthurian story. Okay. So it just didn't really pique my interest, but I had the opportunity to go watch it. So I was like, maybe the trailer didn't do it justice and I will enjoy it regardless. Well, maybe not so much. So The Green Knight is based off the 14th century poem of an Arthurian tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. And I had to look it up because I thought, well, maybe it was like a small poem that they kind of stretched out. But the thing's 144 pages, so it's not that they have content to work off of. And I know that some of the English translation, I mean, it's in old-timey English, but what I'm trying to say is, I know some of the language and verbiage may not translate completely to modern times as far as what we think things mean anymore, but I don't understand how they could have taken this story and gave us the movie that they gave us, and that's kind of the tone of this review, if you couldn't tell. So I decided to break this up into the good and the bad and then give my final thoughts. So let's start off with the good because positive's the best thing to go off of nowadays. So the overall story of basically Arthur's nephew, which is Sir Gawain, and he doesn't feel like he can be a knight even though people around him think he should be. He doesn't think he's worthy. He doesn't think he could be a knight. So his mom basically sets him on a journey to prove himself and become a knight and potential king of the Knights of the Round Table and be the person she knows he could be. She does this thing and summons a spell and the Green Knight appears and basically gives him a challenge, and once he goes to his challenge, he'll go through different other challenges leading up to him finally meeting the Green Knight again, and at the end, if he's worthy, he will become a knight, etc., etc. I got the overall premise, and throughout the movie, you can kind of get the sense of, from the very beginning when the movie opens, which I thought was really, really good. That's probably my favorite part of the whole movie, which sounds so sad, is the very beginning where it's just kind of like, reminding me of Aladdin. It's kind of this, let me set the mood and let me tell you a tale kind of thing. And I really liked that because I'm like, oh, I hope it's just like this, but it's not. I really, really like that part. But overall, as you're watching the movie from Dev Patel's, performance, which I actually liked, you get the sense of him, feeling inadequate and he wants to be a knight, but he doesn't think he can. And you get the sense throughout the whole movie like he's going on this journey, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So you get that. Now, this is going to be kind of listed twice for the good and the bad, but the visuals and the cinematography. So the main thing about this movie, just like in any other A24 movie, which I will talk about later, the visuals and cinematography are really, really good. They are. They're stunning. They make your mind think. They would have you, I feel like they put you in situations you would never potentially be before, rather than just going through the motions. And you're probably like, I don't know what you're talking about, but there's like an instance where he has to jump into a lake to do something. Okay, he could have just jumped in the lake and we saw him, literally go down to the floor, pick it up something and go up. Okay, so the movie decides to have him jump in the lake, and then they mess with your mind and give you stunning visuals and effects and cinematography that really get you thinking like, what is he feeling like when he's in the water, and stuff like that. And a lot of times that stuff is appreciated. So I'll leave it at that until you get to the bad part. But overall, I think the visuals and cinematography, the way the camera moves, there was a lot of scenes that happen where the camera would pan around. I just saw Old by M. Night Shyamalan. If you haven't seen that movie, I recommend that one. That's a pretty good watch. And there's some common similarities between the camera movements from that movie and this movie, but it's basically just to kind of show you time progression or, action and reaction kind of things, and it actually works out really well. So there's some really cool cinematography things and visual things that the movie does have to offer. So one thing I did like about the movie was chapters and flow. So the movie is 2 hours long, and I will get to that in the bad, but what I did like about that part was it does do a very good job of breaking up in parts. So very kind of like Royal Tenenbaum. I've seen a couple other movies do this, but the scene's going on, and then it's like, stamp this chapter, like words coming up on the screen to let you know, hey, this is what's happening up next. So I really did like that part. It did kind of give it some, quick take you out of the movie, bring you back in kind of thing. So you're kind of like, not a break, but just kind of okay, now I can get ready for this, and now I can get ready for this. You know, so I like those parts of the movie. Now, I did like the third act overall. I liked the part, trying to give too much away, but, you know, what they tried to do as far as, is he worthy of being a knight, and trying to show him all the possibilities of being a knight and what that could be for his future. I did like that part. I thought that was something that made the movie feel fulfilling. So I like that very much. And as I getting into my bad parts, you'll understand why that works and doesn't work. So let's go ahead and get into the bad. It was kind of hard to talk about the good without talking about the bad right as I went, because there was a lot of good things but a lot of bad things. I think the bad takes away from the good. But let's go ahead and get into it. So the bad. So this movie is, again, it's an A24 movie, and if you're not familiar with A24 movies, they kind of all have the same kind of sense to them, or at least they do for me, because a lot of the ones I watch, this kind of follows the same cookie cutter motion. So it's all about the visuals and the cinematography and the soundtrack, and the soundtrack is very I don't feel like it matches this movie. It reminds me of a horror movie. I think I put in my notes, it's a darker tone, a creepy chorus soundtrack, and the imagery and cinematography works too hard to make you think. It really wants you to think. And I don't think this is a story that you really have to think about, because it's already laid out. Like, there's no twist or this and that. It's just, you're doing a movie about a story that's already been told. So I don't think you really had to think about it. But if you watch other A24 movies like The Witch, Hereditary, there's a lot of them, like The Lighthouse. There's a lot of A24 movies out there that I would recommend that are good. And I think that those work for those movies. But for this one, I just don't think it worked. I think they were trying too hard with that. So that leads me to the next part, is the visuals and cinematography don't work all the time. I that was my biggest gripe, is that, along with the script, it just takes away from the movie. I told you in the beginning that I get the overall story about a knight who does not feel like he's worthy or could be a knight, and he goes on this journey and goes through challenges to prove himself to be a knight, or whether he can think he can be a knight. Okay, if I get that, and then you throw in all this other junk in the middle to, one, not only make the movie too long, it's too long, and two, confuse the mess out of me, it doesn't make, why do you need that? Why do you need that? Just take it out. Just take it out. It's not needed. I think they could have made this into more of a true adventure movie, which is, I think, what it really could have been, and it'd been just as effective. And you could have done that with visuals and cinematography. You didn't have to do all this, like the part I talked about where he's going into a lake and you're giving me all these different colors, and he closes his eyes and I see stars in the sky, and I'm just like, what? The lake isn't even that deep. Like, you make it sound like he's, like it was like in Get Out when he went through the thing and he's going way down there. I'm like, no, dude, it's 3 feet, 4 feet. Like, we don't have all this time to go on this journey down in the lake. Just get to the bottom of the floor. Like, we didn't need all that. We didn't need all that. And there's some scenes that happen, and it wasn't just me. Like, I was in the theater. I went to some theaters and I saw it with 30 people, and we all had the same reaction. We were just kind of there were parts where people were laughing, and then they were kind of what the heck was that? You're going to watch this movie and be like that. And if you're not, then maybe you can clue me in on what I missed, because I got the Arthurian parts, but when it comes to the visuals, the cinematography, the script, I'm like, nah. The script, there were parts I just don't think were needed. There were some parts with King Arthur, I was just kind of like, dude, I don't know why you're on the screen and you're wheezing a lot, and that's pretty much all you do. So I don't know what your purpose is. I didn't really care for it. I'm sorry. I got the overall story. I thought there were parts that were good challenges, but then, there's challenges that would happen and you would just be like, I don't know why they did that. That wasn't needed. That just kept happening a lot. And you just were scratching your head. Like, I don't know how many times in the movie, I was just kind of like, all right, well, now what? Like, I shouldn't be doing that during a movie. I should not be like, how much more do I have to go? I paid for this, so I want to stay here and get my money's worth, but dang. So the ending, I talked about the third act, the ending. You watch the third act and you feel for him. You're with the character. You're with Sir Gawain. You're like, okay, we're here. This is your chance. You either do this or don't do this. You go through the third act, and then the ending happens, and you're just like, what happened? The ending happens, and it's literally, it's like that, if you know what I mean. And it's just like, that's it. Thank you for watching. And literally all of us, I mean, like, there was a person beside me and I could see people down the other way. We looked at each other and then they laughed and looked at me and were like, this is it? And people were like making comments like, what the heck? It was dumb. That should not have been the ending. There could have been a little bit more story told. The whole point of this movie and the whole point of the story is that he has a legacy of being a knight. So why? You have to watch it for yourself. But why does the movie go there and never go there? Why do you do that? Why do you take us on this journey and then never talk about his legacy? You show us a painting. What? No. Go there. Keep going. Don't stop. No. Even if it's like another minute or two, give us some more. Don't just stop right there. That was the dumbest ending. And when you see it, you're going to be like, wow, I know what Justin's talking about now. So, my final thoughts of the movie. If you couldn't tell, this is not going to get a good score. It's probably the lowest scoring movie I've ever done a review on, either on a video or really in a long time. But you are going to, as many of the people in the theater did, and we kind of all gave each other the same reaction, you were going to walk away, as I said in I wrote a review for Rotten Tomatoes and for Letterboxd. I will link those in the description down below. Follow me, like me, etc. But I said that while the visuals and cinematography make the movie good in some ways, they and the script take away from the true story of the movie, and you walk away feeling confused and unfulfilled and act like they didn't even tell the story at all. That's basically what I feel like. That's what I felt like. We walked away scratching our heads and feeling like that was the biggest waste of time. That's what you're going to feel like. And what I could not believe, and I will say this because I'm giving this movie 2.5 out of 5 Green Knight axes, 2.5 out of 5, which I think is still nice. What I cannot understand is this movie is getting really good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and in a lot of places, and critic reviews. The audience score is more in line with what I'm thinking, but I just cannot understand what they're seeing in this movie that I'm not seeing. And I understand that I'm not a cinematographer, I'm not a movie maker, I'm not a producer. There's nothing against David Lowery, who made this movie. I think he's made some other movies that I really like. I even ran into a friend who saw this and he gave it a 10 out of 10. And I was just kind of like, really? You did? I was like, well, I didn't. I'm not. Because, and my reaction is what the majority of the viewers in the theater thought. So, which made me feel good because I thought maybe I'm just stupid and dumb and don't understand, but I got the overall story of Sir Gawain, so I can't be that dumb. It just didn't work. And so I can't understand why critics are giving this movie so much praise, and then they're giving movies like Jungle Cruise really bad reviews when I think they should be flipped. I just don't understand. But if you've seen The Green Knight, let me know your review. Let me know your comments down below. What do you think of the movie? I try not to do any spoilers, so no spoilers. If you do, mark them, please. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? And if you don't agree, that's fine. We can talk about it. We can be nice to each other about it. Maybe I just don't get all the visuals and stuff. Like, I've watched A24 movies and I get them and enjoy them. Just didn't like this one. And yeah, if you're thinking about going to see The Green Knight, don't see it in theaters. It wasn't worth it. I wait for it to be free on Netflix or something. I wouldn't even worry about, or Amazon Prime or wherever they put A24 movies. I would not waste your money on this. Not even for Redbox rental. But anyways, if you watch it, let me know in the comments below after you come back and watch it and see what you think, and let me know what your thoughts on The Green Knight. And that's it for this video, guys. Enjoy that like button. For ones like this one, start the channel, and I'll see you guys next time on the Mashup.